All right, all right, all right, all right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. For me, it's morning. It's Saturday. It's a nice, relaxed Saturday. I'm going to do a bunch of work on my game, the Godkiller. Looking forward to it. I'm well rested. Got nothing much else I got to do today. So I'm just going to get a solid day of work done on the game. I'm going to bring back in my levels from the old project. So I've been playing with kind of throwaway levels as I get the engine in working order. And today may be the last time I have to explain this, because I'll be fully caught up after I get the levels moved over. Okay, here's what I'll explain. There was an old project that had a whole bunch of stuff working in it. It was over a half year ago. I think it was 9 months. And there was an event which caused corruption and breakage in the project. And after the dust settled on that catastrophe, I decided it was best to make a new project and bring over all the assets and content into the new project, checking them for various problems and improvements as I did it. And I've taken about a month to do that work, and today I'm going to finish it. Today I'm going to get the levels in. That's the last remaining thing to get me to the point where I was half a year ago. And actually, if that sounds like a terrible state, or like, really, you're just going to get back to where you were before? No, it's better than that, because the project has been restructured such that different loading problems are addressed, and it's on a course to be a shippable product, a game people can put on their computers and play, as opposed to a game that I can show you on this stream and it works when I'm at the wheel, So, but maybe it's not something that's just standalone that can be shipped, because it's got different various problems and things that have to be done to it. So I fixed all that stuff, and it's got a solid foundation for being a shippable product. Shippable is an anachronism. There's no shipping. You put it up on a website someplace and people download it. A releasable product. Okay. So the way I structure these things is I give a demo at the beginning that shows anyone who's interested in just kind of seeing where the project's at now. I give you that demo and you can see that. Also, it shows you what I've completed recently. So the structure is I start with a demo and then I do some work. A lot of people don't stick around for the work part of it, which is fine. It's just some middle-aged man like kind of puttering around and mumbling as he goes about things in a half explanation way. Like I've rewatched some of my videos and it's ridiculous, because I sound like I'm really sincerely trying to explain to this imaginary audience member what's going on, but most of the stuff I say you couldn't follow along with unless like you were there with me on every one of these sessions, and nobody has been. It's not like that. But here and there, I guess I have my moments, and some people do enjoy listening to the stuff I say while I'm working, and on certain topics that overlap with what people are trying to do already in their own projects, they'll go and look at my streams. And then the other thing, which seems to be of some value, people like to play this while they're doing work and not listen to me so much, but just have it as like a simulated office environment around them. Because apparently my voice it's not like cutting into the foreground as much as a typical streamer. So I can be kind of like was it Bob Ross type of a guy, just comforting voice, almost an ASMR type thing. While you're working, you can hear some other dude talking along in a comforting way. And he's also working. You're working, he's working. We're all working on our stuff. We don't actually have to listen to the content of what each other is saying. In my case, I won't hear you at all. So unless you also do a stream, and then I'll play it in the background while I do my stream. And hopefully we don't get in a big feedback loop. Okay, enough of my nonsense. Let's get to demoing. All right, so I figured out something yesterday which is not going to blow anybody away except for me. Like, I'm real impressed with it. For me, it was a revelation. For you, you can be, okay, some animation seems to play slightly better. All right, so just to explain a little bit, I'll hit play. This is the boot scene of the level. It's the first scene that will play when the game is released. There's kind of a ugly graphic there that I'll replace later. Okay, so the boot scene loads the first level, or later on I'll have it be a resumed level. So whichever level you were at last, or if you haven't been in a level last, it's going to load that right when it starts. Okay, and then it switches to that other scene. Okay, so the boot scene is not that important to my explanation of this problem, so I'll stop talking about it. So if I hit escape, it's going to take me to a different scene. It'll unload this first level, and it'll go to the level selector. Use of the level selector in this game is somewhat discouraged. Like, unless you are making a decision to go back to a previous level and replay it for some reason, you'll probably not go to the screen. I've even designed it so that hiccups, always hiccups. I've even designed it so that you don't have to restart a level. You can keep playing when you die. You just keep playing. You sort of warp to the respawn point, but the state of the level doesn't restart, other than one game element, which I have that game element reset when you die. But anyways, this screen that you go to select the level is just there in case you want to backtrack, or in case you just don't trust the state the level you're in is currently in, and you want to explicitly reset it, which I'm trying to make it so you don't have to, but somebody's going to want to at some point. So here's the problem. So I'm going to press a button which will begin loading the first level that we were just at. And what I want to happen is that an animation will play while that level is loading in the background. I'll show you what actually does happen. Okay, so it played a sound, and then there was kind of a large chunk of time. It wasn't so bad as it has been, but it was probably 2 seconds or something like that where the animation didn't play. You heard the sound, and what was going on was the level was loading right there, or some follow-on tasks of loading the level, like executing scripts inside of the level, inside of the scene, was happening, and that interrupted the animation. Let me see if I can get it to happen in a more pronounced way. No, that's kind of what it does. All right, so that shows the problem, and I discovered that there's a bunch of scripts that are run right when the level starts, and each one of those scripts that runs doesn't take up much time, but since there's thousands of objects, game objects, that have this little script attached to it, they all have to run when the level loads. And for whatever reason, the Unity API for loading the scene in the background will block. It will block the main thread's execution when those scripts are being executed inside of the scene as the level loads. So that's what was preventing the animation from displaying smoothly. To kind of picture it in a more typical sense, imagine that the animation was a progress indicator, like a little bar that went from 0 to 100%. What this bar would look like is it would start at 0%, maybe go to 5%, and then a bunch of time would elapse, and then it would just jump all the way to 100% at the end. That's basically what's happening. Because of those scripts I was talking about that start. They're actually, in my case, this is not singling out ProBuilder, but there's a third-party asset called ProBuilder, and all of the game objects that you use that are ProBuilder based have that little script in it. And I have really thousands of these game objects in the form of decorations. So you can see my mouse pointer. I'm pointing out like, okay, there's this edge here around the floor. That's a decoration that's split out into multiple game objects. And then there's these pipes that go down. There's like one of them per each square. I could be more efficient and put them all into one game object, but that's like probably not worth my time. Okay, so there's all those, and they actually take a lot of time. But there's a feature to remove the ProBuilder scripts from the game objects when you no longer need them. So you need them when you have editing tasks that would involve you, maybe taking one side of a game object and extruding it, or when you're going to do some modeling on those objects inside of Unity, you need those ProBuilder scripts. But after you're done with that, after those game objects are pretty much set, other than maybe their positioning inside of the scene, then you can just remove the ProBuilder script. So I did that with the second level. So the second level is a copy of the first with the scripts removed, the ProBuilder scripts removed from the vast majority of the game objects in the scene. And when I say the vast majority, I mean the decorations, which are most of the game objects. It's not as good of a demo as I thought it would be. So now I'm seeing not much difference between the two animations, whereas last night I definitely was. Also, I think my interface here is needs a little tweaking, because it's a little bit hard to just move to the next thing without going past it. Okay, let's try this. It's kind of the old behavior. I don't know about that. Yeah. Okay. Let's say this isn't a really great demo. Let's say I gain some insight. Let's say I'll continue to hone the level loading experience, and I now have some solid ideas on what actually makes levels load quicker. Okay, so today, bringing in levels from the old project and getting them to work as they did before. And at the end of this day, it's my sincere hope that I'll be done with the old project. It'll just be all new project. I wouldn't even call it the new project anymore. It'll just be the project. be the game. We will no longer speak in terms of the old project and moving stuff over into the new project. We'll be done with that. And I'll be quite happy when that's the case. Unplay. Okay, so now I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to make a plan to move this over in the simplest way, or the least painful and safest way. Let me get the lay of the land. Okay, so there's quite a few test levels that I made. And I think I'm not going to bring them all over. I'm going to bring the ones that are important to me over. Okay. It's maybe a good time to get rid of some of these things that I don't actually want. Oh yeah, I'm going to be gone for about 10 minutes or so. Just taking a short break. I'll be right back. 10 minutes, something like that. All right, that was too long of a break. Too long. Okay, let's get back to work. What was I even doing? What was I even doing? What was I even doing? And why am I getting an Irish accent? Why is an Irish accent creeping into me? Alright. It's just fun to, at the end of your sentence, to have it go up. Just have your words go up at the end. Up. Okay. So there'll be scenes from the old project, not all of them, that I'll want to copy over to here. And then we'll open them up and see what they look like. So let me start with level 1. Okay. The very first level of the game. It's gonna look a mess. I just know it will. There's a number of things to fix with it. Okay. Let me just see how terrible it is. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Okay. So the mesh is there. The references to materials are kind of foobar. No, just foo, not foobar. Foobar means fucked up beyond repair, beyond all repair. Or I should say, this is just fucked up. It's not fucked up beyond anything. It's fucked up beyond easy repair, foobar. Okay, I know that these guys are not following my new scene organization. So let me do something like this. I'll say rename old, because I'm going to move in some prefabs that these other prefabs will have some of the same names. So that's why I'm renaming these to start. Interesting. Which object? Weird. I wish this would be associated with whatever game object in question. Whatever game object actually generated this. So if I click on this warning, it's upset about PB Mesh 95300. How do I even get to that? Maybe it's this thing? I made a good guess. that the mesh in question is the big giant one. Okay. Well, there's all kinds of stuff messed up about this, so I'm just not going to worry too much about fixing that. These other guys, oh man, missing prefabs in all of these? Oh man, that's going to be a lot to fix. That will be a lot. Is there just a way where I can say, here is the prefab that you're missing? Let's see. Go through and express my appreciation of this really awesome thread. And I'll add one comment. trying to give something back. Alright. Or I just love the sound of my own typing. One of the two. Probably both of the two. Okay, so close that. Now what was I doing? I just like totally lost track of what I was doing. Oh yeah. Unity. How to fix missing prefab reference. Way back in 2012. Not seeing a real time-saving solution here. Yeah, I know how to do this. It's just very time consuming. Okay, let me see what this is. Might be a reasonable way to do it. Okay, so if I ran this code, what would it do? It would take a game object like one of my floor game objects, and as a second param, it would take the working prefab. So the first one is the in-scene object that's broken. Okay. The gist of it seems that it would just replace it. Huh, hold on. Okay, so it'll instance the okay, I'm starting to get it. So it's going to make a clone and put it in the same location as the screwed up object. Then it will delete the original object because the new one would be better situated. One thing it won't do is copy across any component properties. But I've got some calling code that I would write, which would pick which objects get passed here. So I can look through all the game objects in the scene, and I can decide which ones I want to perform this operation on. I don't have to pick any that I know will be trouble, that won't actually be a good replacement. So that's a pretty reasonable way to do this. The other way I can do, actually I've got 3 tools in the toolbox. I can do this kind of simple replacement strategy. I can hand edit the references to the prefabs, so I can go into the actual asset file, not in the editor, but in like a text editor, and edit the reference to the prefab to be the correct GUID. Okay. As long as the new prefab has matching public properties that are serialized, it should work. Third thing I can do is just kind of hand edit it, make replacements inside of the editor, inside of the Unity editor. I have trouble with that word. Editor. I have to over-enunciate it to say it correctly. Otherwise I go So a combination of those three approaches should allow me to get through most of the work here without anything ridiculous. So let me see if I can just find what is the stuff that is just missing. Wait a minute. What does select prefab root do? Oh, yeah, okay, so if I was down here and I go select prefab root, yeah, it goes up to the top. That's fine. I don't think this code had anything where it would magically figure out where the correct prefab is. Let's see, how does replace get called? You got to pass that prefab instance in. Okay, let me see. S objects to replace. Where does that get set? That seems like it's a yeah, it's specified in the UI that this object implements, and I don't want to bring all that stuff in. I'll just, this snippet here I could bring in and just edit it a little bit to suit my purposes. Okay, so what is all the stuff that's missing? Some of it maintained its references okay. Floors and walls, those would be good candidates to do that little prefab thing on. They don't have any extra components with them. I think that's true. Is that true? Yeah, it's true. Rails, Rails are tougher because Rails do have some properties. I just said they don't have extra components, but what I really meant is serialized properties that go with the components. Because that technique, it's a little bit like the movie. Oh, I would be giving away such a spoiler if I explain that. Okay. So I won't talk about that movie. It would ruin it for some people. It's a little bit like if you said, "Oh, I can teleport," but you're not really teleporting. You're actually just creating a copy of yourself, and you're destroying the original. That's what that routine does. So you might think, "Oh, it's fixing the original." It's not really. It's just creating a new game object, copying some of the stuff over, and deleting the original, killing the original. And the problem with that is for these Rail objects is they've got some extra component properties. But you know what I can do is I can write special case code to bring back these Rails. And based on the name of it, I can have it set the properties. Yeah, okay. I'm starting to get a good strategy here. Okay, so looking through other stuff. So the letter gates, that'll probably be, there's not too many of those. I'll have to kind of fiddle with those by hand to get them fixed. Player is just going to get deleted and recreated with my prefabs. I'll do that manually. Player cam, same thing. background. Same thing. I'll just pull in the prefab and just replace it. Let's take a look up here. I will create like a new top level and just kind of move things over into it. I think I'll do that. Main. There's a thing with subtitles that I didn't put those into Booter yet, which I should probably do. Okay. This first level just might take me all day. There's a lot of work here. So I think I'll start writing some code based on that snippet that I saw, which fixes objects. Put this in editor. Editor. Call this I'll be more specific. Prefab fixer. Okay. So let's see. Actually, I don't even think I need anything this complicated, but let me just bring it in as a reference. I think there's just a way to just get them all. Game object. Yeah, this one. Wow, what's that? Oh, that's deprecated. Alright, I guess I need another snippet. Oh yeah, type of. Yeah, that's what I want. Okay, what does it return? An array? Yeah, okay. I mean, it's not really ambiguous because one has a lowercase letter, one has this, so. If you call that simpler. Yeah, okay, whatever. Well, this is going to be mono behavior, isn't it? Should I... Here I want to see programmatically if the prefab is broken. Yeah, this one. Yep. Okay. Let me see if this convention still makes sense. Come on. Yep, it does. So let me see. Okay, so this will give me a list of all the game objects that are missing a prefab, or at least the ones that are named that way, which is probably the same thing. Now I'll need to iterate through that list and detect when detect types of game objects that could be replaced with a prefab. Okay, so game object, geo, stop it. So aggressive auto-correcting. This is a level of indirection that's not helpful. Yeah, I take it back. What? All right. What do you suggest? That's definitely briefer. I don't feel real great about that. So I guess it's saying that if the return value is non-null, go ahead and invoke it. Okay, fine. Okay. Making sure I can return null. Okay. Okay. I need the prefab. I'd like to just look up the prefab without setting it as a component property. Okay, so can I find a prefab by name? Okay, I could use addressables. I believe I could. Which I don't want to move this into resources. I think using addressables is just a variant of this particular solution. You know what? It's probably fine to use just some component references. So let's do public. Yeah, then I have to make this a mono behavior. That's okay, I can do that. I can do that. I don't think I'll be able to have it be a static class, but that's fine. Can I do this? Can I do public static? That would be kind of neat if I could. Okay, fix prefab. Let's call it what it is. Recreate from prefab. Let's say geo and let's say for prefab. Okay. Then let's have this return the new game object. Go get that snippet. Sounds like a smart thing. Let's go back to here. I'm kind of curious if this works. If it does, then I wouldn't need to check the name. All right. I can consolidate that. Let's go take this out here. All right, the name thing should work fine. Oh, wait a minute. So there's one problem. In that some of these things are going to have more than one missing prefab matching item in them. So this game object is going to come up in the list, and it's going to say missing prefab in its name. But I don't want to do anything with this. I want to do something with the top one. I think it'll be okay though, because just double check that the name actually, yeah, okay. So a few things I can be a little more specific here. That should get the top level. One only, not the child underneath of it. The other thing is this fixed function thing is going to look through for supported types and only return functions that go along with that. Okay. I kind of like, this is a good name, naming convention. I'll keep that. This must have been deprecated and removed at some point. So it's there. Transform equals original transform. Is there a duplicate? Let's go see what the deal is there. Okay, I always want to keep the name, so let's keep the name. I could just manually set the position, scale, and rotate. That should do it. Do I care about this undo stuff? I don't know that I do. Okay. old. Alright, so that's really just copying those three. Yeah, that's all they're doing. There might be something built into the instantiate. In fact, I think I've written this code before. So what's the... Yeah. So that's another thing to retain is the parenting when it's created. Oh wow, you could instantiate the prefab in a scene other than the current one. Okay, so just looking through this reminded me I need to set the parent. Let's say original. And we'll just, it's not that big a deal. Just transform local position equals original transform. Okay. That's true. Okay, so this has some small chance of working. Alright, so I can delete this. See what's broken when I build. I think some stuff won't work. Let me see. Nope, that's good. Okay, let's start the debugger. And breakpoint at the top level of this. And I guess I should pull in the this editor. Okay, let me just add in okay, it doesn't want to display a static public property. I don't blame it. I can see different problems that might come up with that. So I'm going to take the static off, but that'll cause other stuff to not work well here. So I do want that to be static. Just, I guess, just kind of make a duplicate of each of these. It's annoying, but it'll be fine. So that's for and then let's keep these together. And I come back here, I should have a new property that I can set. I do. all that. I should be able to... I'll go ahead and save this, because I might be about ready to mess it up really bad. Let's just save it. Okay, this should just be hundreds, if not thousands, of objects. Thousands, yep. Cool. So this is one that should not be designated as missing. All right. I think this code's going to work. At least this first one will. Step out. So I'm expecting maybe not 3,000 objects, but over 1,000. What? Okay, I'll probably have to run this again. Let me try this the more correct way. Because it would be nice to use the correct way. I had it earlier. Now I got to find it again. Oh, it's in this code. In the prefab utility. Okay. Okay, that might work better. It's definitely more direct. God damn it. Is it not debugging? So I just ran it and I don't know what it did or didn't do. Let me see if the floors are still messed up, because in theory it might have. Yeah, they're still messed. Okay, good. I mean, okay. Let me just find one that I know is messed up. So if I just set a breakpoint here, I know the first one is going to be that little finger thing, pinky finger. Okay, I can see the name of it right here, made a ring. What is the Go name? Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm just looking down here and I'll wait for the first one that looks messed up. It looks like it has a missing prefab, and then I'll drill into that. I got one more breakpoint here in case I miss something. It might also be that all the ones that are missing are not active in the hierarchy. That would be interesting too. So far, these are all types that are not missing the prefab connection. How many in there? 3,000 something. Let me just scan ahead a little bit. So these are all not missing. No, some of these, like the corner, I would expect that one to be missing. Let me see what that looks like. But maybe not missing. Maybe it just has like the material was not set correctly. So let me keep scanning ahead, because this, I just like looked through 100 of them. They all seem like these are ones that don't have a missing profab. So it's not going to help me to go through 100 with this breakpoint stuff. I'm not seeing any floors yet. There should be a lot of floors. It might be the case that the first call is filtering out all those objects, because they're not active in the scene. And I think that's one of the criteria for that find objects of type. Yeah, all this stuff kind of looks... Yeah, so wall descenders, but no walls, no floors. No rails. There's tons of rails in this thing. So I would have expected to find some else. Let me go towards the end in case they're all just at the end. Okay. So let's unbreak that, break that, play, see what happens. Empty. Okay, got it. How about find all objects or find all objects? Here. I think that'll also get ones that aren't active. Okay. Whatever you want. I suspect if it's going to work at all, it'll be like that. Okay, so it should be a lot more now. Oops, not that. All objects. No, it's not a lot more. What is up with that? Well, these are different. Whole bunch of offsets. Seems like the ordering's different. But if there's 3,000 something, then it's going to be roughly the same objects. I don't see floors, I don't see walls, which are the ones that I need to fix. Let's hit play. Oh, it found one. What did you find? Let's see the parent. I want to see the parent. Half arch. Okay. I think it okay, so is it active in hierarchy? No. What about the parent, though? So the parent is active in the hierarchy. Okay, there's one where the parent is a wall. And this is weird because I don't remember there being like a child-parent relationship for these game objects. I remember them being single object without a child to it. Is it just how a missing game object is represented in the scene where it automatically creates a child relationship underneath of it? Yeah, not sure what to think of that. But the good thing is it looks like it's there. It's just I'm gonna have to get at it in maybe a slightly obtuse way. So if I look at the parent, I'm kind of curious if these parents will come up in the list of game objects. Let me just check that string comparison works the way I think it does. Okay, good. So now what do I want to learn? I want to learn if the parent objects are going to ever pop up in this list, or if they've all been sort of hidden away. So let me just keep going through this until I learn that. So here's child of the floor. Okay, so these are just going to get called missing prefab dummy. Now I know that the floor definitely does not have a child-parent structure in the prefab, so this is something coming from its status as a missing object. Oh, that was it? 7? Oh, there's way more than 7 to fix. Way more. Huh. Okay, so none of these are going to register as a floor. This won't get called. Okay. What are you doing? Friggin' Unity with your spinnies. What's the point? Okay. So if I just look at this, okay. So this is what it does. It creates this missing prefab dummy thing underneath. I want it to find these guys up above and replace those. So let's write code that does that if the friggin' IDE will not crash on me. Tell you what, I'm going to give the crazy Visual Studio IDE a chance to relinquish its spin hold on me by going downstairs and making a quick little snack break. And hopefully by the time I return, I won't need to force quit it, but I probably will. Be right back. Okay. And it appears that Visual Studio IDE needs to get force quit. I don't enjoy force quitting things. I really don't. Okay, that's the end of you. Let's bring you back. Okay. So my thought is that we'll change this a little bit. Let's go back to this. And I mean, this is just, it's no longer a concept that's decoupled from the logic. So let's just put this back in. It's not always a good thing to refactor some functionality into a new function. I find that the function, oh, I've been talking without showing my work screen. So what I just did is I just moved the functionality that was in a function called isMissingPrefab back in line with the main loop. My rationale being that before I was checking, is it a missing prefab? Now I mean something more specific, which is this the root object that could contain a missing prefab? And I could like keep that in a function with a more appropriate name, but it's an example of refactoring with no benefit. It's actually easier to understand if it's in line. Okay, let's save that. Then make sure I've got a breakpoint set. Come back here. Oh, I don't have the debugger running. Run the debugger. See if you can do it without crashing too. Visual Studio. Okay. Just set a breakpoint here and here and go. So bad. Such a terrible experience Visual Studio has provided. Because like when you set a breakpoint, it does weird things with execution. I don't understand it. I should be able to set a breakpoint in the middle of a debug session and have that be picked up, but it does weird things. Like you click on this to set a breakpoint and the execution unpauses or something along those lines, and it becomes unclear to me what actually happened after I set a breakpoint. So you got to set them before you initiate, apparently. Okay. This should be 3000. Whoops, not that. This one should be 3000 something. Okay. When I hit play, it should stop at the first breakpoint. It didn't. Okay. So what does that mean? It means that the game objects that actually correspond to the top level prefabs are not coming back in this find objects of type all. I think I'm getting their child objects, and for me to actually get the object I want to replace, I think I have to go up a level. So I can do something like, just hit play, just get that over with. Do something like that. And then that'll pick up all of these missing prefab dummy objects, which did come through. And from those, I can just go up one level. I think this one is active, and this one is inactive in the hierarchy. But this is the one I want, and for some reason it's getting filtered out of that call. So I know how to get to it though. So we'll say go find root prefab. And now I actually have a good case to do something dry. So basically I want to go okay, I'm going to make this kind of simple. I'm going to go up one level, and if I go up one level to the parent and find that it is also named as a missing prefab, then I'll use the parent. I don't feel like continuing the recursion up, because I'm really only interested in this one case where inside of the scene it's represented as a dummy object with the parent immediately above it containing the kind of original prefab instance or like original game object that I would want to have the correct prefab replaced from. Replace two, yeah. All right. So we say if is as go. So in this way, I'll just return one or the other. Okay. Oh, good. Okay. Let's see. What do we got here? Missing prefab dummy. Your parent should be that half arch thing. Yep. Okay. Cool. What is the go name? Yep. Okay, so this should return true. So this should return the parent. Okay. Yeah, good. And I want the parent instead of that dummy object because the parent has got the transform. The parent is retaining the transform, which is the key thing to use for recreating the prefab instance, making a copy there. Okay, so let's see what else I can get out of this thing. I'm probably just going to get 7. I don't maybe not. We'll see. I don't know why only 7 though. That's a little bit off to me. At least we've got 2 that are floor. I suppose it's possible that I just have like 2 giant floor objects. I don't think so though. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if I just eyeball inside of the IDE, I'll find quite a few more. Yeah, I don't know what to think about that yet, but let's see if I'm able to just fix a couple. So this one should return null. Yep. Okay, what's the next one? Half arch, that'll be a null again. Wall, null. Okay, this one. This one. Return the right one, please. The name is floor. Okay, this should return fixed floor. Have the prefab floor, good. The original, yep. I think I will want to do something with the name that gets assigned to it so it's not named missing prefab again. Yeah, that seems pretty important actually. But for now, let's just see. Are you able? Create a new object. You are. Is the parenting set correctly? Parent should be like old level. Yep, cool. position. Oh, the original was 0, 0, 0? That seems very unlikely. Unless it really is the child that has got the transform information in it. Yeah, the original transform. Zero, zero, zero. I guess let's look at the children. That's weird. 2 children? 2 children. That is weird. Two children. Also 0, 0, 0. Some serious weirdness going on here. It might make sense for me to comment this out until I make sure that I can do this right, because as soon as I delete this, I won't be able to run the code again on the object to try to fix it. So might make more sense to remove this destroy object immediate code or comment it out. Okay. It could have also been just a giant crud. This isn't gonna work. Here's why. The original prefab is just the start of the object. It's not like the real thing that I need. Because I pull in those floor prefabs and then I just add all kinds of stuff to the meshes, which is really what is the useful part of that object to retain. Because there's all these extrusions and adding extra points into the mesh, extra surfaces, and that's really like that's the level. That's information. So if I just replace it with another prefab, yeah, it's not gonna do the job. Which one's this? This is also floor. Let me take a look at this object. I'm curious about the original. Is it at 0, 0 again? Yep. So this, even the transform I'm getting from the object looks wrong. So like this is not going to be a useful operation to kind of perform in mass on everything. It just won't be. Okay, let's just get through this because I'm going to want to undo the changes that were made. We done yet? Yes, we are. Okay, there we go. So I'm just eyeballing it just to see if it actually, you know, like do anything noticeable. Did not. I mean, try undoing, see if I can, yeah. Undo floor 13. Okay, can I revert this? I don't trust the undo that I just performed. Let me just open a different scene and come back to this one. Okay, so here's what I'm coming to as a conclusion. The replacement of a prefab is not going to retain all the information that's needed. I may be able to use that technique on the rails, but I haven't seen any of the rail objects pop up. There's some weirdness there. So I could keep going with what I was doing. There might be some benefit on some of the objects, but not all of them. And some of the ones that are kind of important for me to restore and retain all their information will definitely not work with that approach. So let's go back to this level. I just basically did a revert on it because I didn't like that I had deleted two objects that might have had some of that mesh information that was important to me. However, there's another technique to manually correct the missing prefab. I think it might be as simple, I say simple, it's not simple, as editing the GUID, the GUID inside of a file. It's also this other tool I've got, find reference to. I think it might have had some functionality like that. So if I take this guy, I found no documentation on what this actually does, though. That's the thing. GUID to object. That's what was this to? Rails. Oh, that's the directory name. No, I don't want that. I want, let's see, I want Rails North 1. So if I come back here, okay, it's just a GUID lookup tool, which I guess is kind of worth something, but I don't know if that's has anything to do with fixing or setting the GUID. What about I take the raw scene file? Okay, so let me see what's actually in this file. So if I go to one of the missing floors, say floor 1, I thought it would have stored that there. I guess I'm wrong. Yeah, it's got all the objects in here. It's got meshes. I don't know if I'm going to get names of objects in here. There's GUIDs. Let me see. So if I come up here, this looks very much like a PB object to me. YAML's a nice format. I like it better than JSON. Just for like a human readable format. Yeah, I'm just like seeing no M names. So I must store them someplace else. I guess there's some. So in a tantalizing way, I see all the mesh data still in here, waiting to be recovered. I don't know if the mesh data I'm looking at corresponds to objects which have a missing prefab. So if I've lost that mesh data, then that would be bad. I don't have any reason to believe that would be the case, though. Unity generally doesn't delete data inside of assets just because it's confused about the contents of the asset or linkages in it. I have had some objects that just had their references repaired, and as soon as the references were repaired, it pretty robustly recovered the property values that would be used for the components in question. Okay, I'm going to stop the stream for a little bit to make some brunch for my family, and I'm going to come back and keep working on this problem. Stopping the stream temporarily.